Thank you all for joining in. My name is Azeem Bolar, um, and I work in the IT industry in Bangalore. I'm in the counseling sector, and I've been watching a lot of different opinions and a lot of scare with the people. Arshi,
Yeah,
Dr.
so
Arshi.
so this was basically an initiative, that we thought that we could connect the people out there who were having a troubled time dealing with the coronavirus, the emotional aspects of it. And we knew Dr. Azeem, who's been more of a friend, a counselor, a family member, a brother to me and Ishraq for the past so many years. I mean, he's more like he is family to us. So we thought that what better platform than to connect out to the people out there. So it was a very small initiative that we did. We thought would help those who are out there. And a brief introduction of Dr. Azeem. He's a PhD in psychotherapy. He's got his doctorate from Kuvempu University, and he is a linguistic programming practitioner who's actively practicing in quality technologies in Bangalore, and has been helping employees and other people dealing with emotional problems at different levels and administering NLP assistance to improve productivity in the workplace, at the workplace, and with their people suffering from low esteem, low confidence level, those who are dealing with the family crisis, and helping them with any kind of delicate situations which are grief related, or he's actually a friend when people need someone to share, to cry on, we need a shoulder to cry on, and provides a caring and patient ear. He has about more than 16 years of experience as a professional independent counselor, and he's also a volunteer counselor for the National Association of the Blind. As I said, he has a doctorate in psychotherapy with neurolinguistic programming. He's done his MS in counseling and psychotherapy in Masters of Science from Kuvempu University, Shimoga. He also has a two master programs from Schiller University, London, in which he trained in hotel and tourism management and hotel management. He's also trained at the Schiller Institute at International University, Strasbourg, France, and has extensively trained in various neurolinguistic programming sessions, including the advanced programs, has a diploma in child and adult counseling, has advanced NLP programming, and was trained by renowned NLP practitioners like Owens and Fitzpatrick. So his CV just runs into pages. But I'll just sum it up that he's also won several national level awards, like he was awarded by the National Federation for the Blind for Excellency Award for the Best Professional, and the Cavencare Ability Award for Mastery, Achievement Against All Odds. So it's my proud privilege to have introduced him today to all of you. So we've, as far as Zoom settings are concerned, we've muted all of you because otherwise there's a lot of disturbance in. So if you have a question for Dr. Azeem, please be free to chat it in the chat box below. You can click on the chat window below, and we'll be happy to take your questions. So that's how it is. We have. I'll also like to introduce Mr. Ishraq Ahmed, who's also co-hosting the event today. He's an engineer by profession, a good friend of ours, a tech and entrepreneur, and a self-developer by passion. He's also the Chief Operations Officer, the CEO for Zen 360 Consult, and is based in Bahrain. So thanks, Ishraq, for joining us and moderating the session.
Pleasure's all mine.
So Dr. Azeem.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello.
So, Dr. Azeem, we can start the session.
Okay. Yeah. So, hello again to all of y'all. Now, I have been hearing so much of hue and cry with the COVID situation, and depression is in the air, and it sounds like something very chaotic. If you look at the media is glamorizing it, making it worse than it is. It shows huge numbers hospitalized with infection, huge numbers dying, and it's a very scary picture. But then as far as medicine is concerned, yes, there is care, there is a vaccine now introduced, but then it's far from getting to all of us. But then what is it that makes us scared? It's emotions. And we talk about emotions. A lot of people say, oh my God, I can't control it. And that's not true. We very well can control our emotions. We can manage them. And with this lockdown situation makes matters even worse, because the very fact that you are isolated from everybody, and then you have depression coming in, sinking in gradually, loneliness, depression, and then frustration knocks in your door. And when frustration comes in, it makes matters really bad. And to add to all of that, the depression, frustration, loneliness, isolation is really going to damage a lot of lives. It hurts the mental capacity when you're isolated. And we feel lonely. Everyone feels lonely. When you're isolated for so many number of days, what can we do? Uh, we have tried everything, overworking ourselves. Officers work from home, and you end up working 16 hours instead of the normal 9 hours, because transportation set aside, you tend to spend 15, 16 hours with the kids running around, the wife screaming in the background, or the homemaker screaming, and it's just not possible. It's just not possible to work from home. Uh, Under isolation, you can't go out for a walk. That's even worse. So you can't ventilate. So you end up taking out all the charge on your spouse. All that's happening inside comes out uh, onto your best friend. So I thought about sharing a few words with you, saying that it is not as bad as it sounds. COVID is nothing but a cold that is a little got out of hand. If you look at it in a more minimized manner, we realize that it's not as bad as it sounds. Yes, it is bad. It is bad. Why is it bad? Why? Can we just ask ourselves, why is it so bad when Azeem says it's not all that bad? It's bad because we can't maintain social distancing. We're not careful. And we don't have the correct perception, we probably are getting very, very intimidated, sorry. We feel that our self-esteem is dropping. We somehow realize we are nobody anymore, because in the office you have a lot of people. You have gestures of warmth. You feel superior. You feel like you're the king. And then you're at home isolated, and boy, that hurts, because no one to pat your shoulder, no one to tell, give you comments on your meetings, no one to lift your ego, and then you get frustrated. So frustrated that you probably can't even look at the kids. So frustrated that you can't look at your homemaker. You have your comp, your laptop, and it's worse. So I have identified a couple of things which we'll talk about. We start with depression. We start with loneliness. Yes, loneliness. Lockdown puts us aside. Lockdown cuts us from people. We feel that there is nobody listening to us. We become so lonely that we start pulling our hair out. We start banging walls. We start banging doors. We start yelling. That's not necessary. What's necessary is to keep yourself occupied. What's necessary is to share the golden moments at home, because a lot of the times we crib saying that we are not given time off. We are not allowed to sit at home. We can't spend time with the family. Well, this is one time you can spend with the family. This is one time you can pick up activities indoors that could bring out the artistic potential in you. This is one time you can probably write your own autobiography. This is one time you have for yourself. That is as far as the frustration is concerned. On a lighter note, I remember a counselor of mine, and we are taught when we did our counseling that when you get frustrated, we wrap ourselves around a huge tree and we scream on top of our heads. So I said this to this person that, well, listen, young man, you are indeed frustrated and you're about to break up. So why don't you just go and yell, wrap yourself around the tree, yell as fast as you can, as hard as you can. And he got back to me after a week, and I was like all eager to hear him out. And he said, "Doctor, all was nice until the neighbor said there's a madman yelling in the air, wrapping himself around a tree." So yeah. So not all is safe, but it's necessary to vent out the frustration, and necessary to talk it out, because talking is very, very important. Talking lets you let out everything within you, and you need to have a listener, a person who can listen to you, listen to your sorrows, listen to the pain within you, because isolation bring a lot of pain. Yeah, it can bring a lot of pain. So it's very, very important that we talk it out. We have people to hear us out. We do not need advice. We do not need advice because we know who we are. Maybe a word or two of maybe encouragement would help. Advice from too many cooks spoil the broth, so be careful of advice. You know yourself better, but yes, there are things you can do in terms of recreational activities, in terms of frustration. Went out on recreation, went out on maybe paintings, right? If you are really frustrated, you can't go for a walk. That's even worse. So try to maybe walk indoors if you have some dumbbells, do some exercises, set a time aside for exercises, because we need the blood gushing to your brains. Otherwise, you become lethargic. And most important, do not deviate from normal activity. Office timing stressed, work as though you're at the office. So that isn't a great change, a transformation in your timing. That's very important, because then we let loose, we let go, and then we can't get back to work. So very important to maintain strict timings, very important to have a things to do list. Now we come to depression. Depression is with everybody. It's just that how do we handle it? It could be big, it could be small, but depression is depression. No depression is greater than the other. Everyone has their own share of depression. And being depressed, part of it is ourselves. Because we tend to affirm to ourselves, oh my God, I'm depressed. I can't eat this, I'm depressed. Oh my God. No, that's not true. If you say you're depressed, then you will be depressed. To counteract that, let us use positive affirmations, saying that I need not be depressed because I have a lot to do. I'm feeling better and better because the sun is shining. I'm glad that I'm at home, I can spend time with the kids. I have work from home, that's a blessing in disguise. Such affirmations can take the depression out of your mind, they take it out of your heart. We come to isolation again, depression, isolation, frustration. So these emotions are very, very dangerous when they are let loose. But now I've come to the worst of all emotions, and that's called guilt. Guilt is by far the worst emotion. Even we as therapists really have to carefully unwind a person. And we have to handle situation very, very precariously, because guilt is a killer. Someone who is suffering guilt, especially in the COVID situations, will have the guilt that, do I have COVID? If so, whom have I given it to? That itself is very depressing, very, very depressing. How many people could he have given the infection to? How many people could he have given the disease to? It's just infection. Oh my God. So guilt is something, and then he sees the huge numbers trying and say, how many numbers have I been responsible for? We don't know. If it's a doctor in a hospital, day in and day out, he's dealing with COVID patients. He's dealing with danger. And when he goes home and the kids play with them, he's guilty. He's guilty. He can't tell his kids to go away, to detach, and at the same time, he doesn't want it. And so he's dying of guilt. And that guilt is going to really hurt us. So COVID is something that we should take up in the emotional front as a challenge to better ourselves. In these moments of crisis where there is loneliness knocking on your door, there's a depression around you, there is frustration from top to bottom, first give a pat on your shoulder. Learn to appreciate yourselves. Learn to feel who you are, and you feel better because you are who you are, and you could probably be better. This is one time staying at home to better yourselves. There are so many online courses. There are so many challenges online. If you are bored, you can surely get to it. That reminds me, boredom. How many of us here sitting down are suffering from boredom? Utter boredom. I don't know what to do. That's not true. I don't know what to do. It's just, I am going nuts. Well, that's again wrong affirmation. There is so much we can do, so much we can do. And so much we can do comes from the times when we want some time off to do some gardening or do some work at home and say, I don't have the time. Well, now you have it. You have all the time in the world in this isolation period, in this lockdown period, to give yourselves a pat on the shoulder, to praise yourselves for even smallest, to learn to appreciate who you are. We all need appreciation, don't we? We die for appreciation. It helps us to build our ego. Well, now learn to appreciate yourselves. Fall in love with yourself because it's very necessary. If you are loving yourselves, if you are in full appreciation of yourselves, you don't have anything to worry about during COVID times. Maintain your self-esteem. Keep it high. Keep it high. Look at yourself, who you are. Conduct changes in yourself, your appearances. Why not? Aren't we all tired of looking at the same face in the mirror? Let us now, for a change, try to look different. Try to be different. Try to have fun. Let loose. This is one time we have isolation. It's an excuse for us. It's an excuse for us to learn ourselves. It need not be so catastrophic, is what I'm trying to tell all of us. I would like to pause for a while and have anyone got any questions?
His granny, and he's asking like what should he do to deal with the situation?
Grandmother tells me she's old. She is old, which means she has lower immunity. So also she probably will be thinking of this is the last breath I'm going to breathe. That's not true. She needs positive
Sorry to
drugs.
interrupt you. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I forgot to mention the fact to all our participants that Dr. Azeem, even though he's a trained professional hotelier, he actually had to switch gears because of his health condition. So he's actually dealt with more trauma uh, than emotional trauma than possibly any one of us, because he can't see. He's visually impaired. So in spite of being a well-trained hotelier and working with the groups like Oberoi, he's actually fought his way back and is now a professional counselor and a national award winner as well. So he's like an inspiration. His life is an inspiration for all of us. And I'm sorry I didn't introduce that part in the beginning, but I'm putting it in now, because if someone can go through so much of personal turmoil and personal challenges and come out as a winner, and in fact even help someone else to deal with a tough situation, so I think that itself is an inspiration for all of us. So on that note, I'm sorry I interrupted, but I'd like to continue. Yeah.
No,
So
good,
coming back
good.
to Anand.
Thanks for sharing that. Now, and this is fun, and that Your grandmother needs a lot of positive strokes. We need to minimize the gravity of the situation until it's not as bad as it sounds. But no false promises. Do not ever say that everything is going to be all right, because nothing is going to be all right until immunity goes up, until she's better. And what really harms our immunity, apart from low immune foods, is our feelings, our subconscious. How do we feel in ourselves? So try to bring up her spirits. Try to make her feel lively again. Try to make her feel strong again. Tell her jokes. Let her laugh it out. Laughter is the best medicine. Believe me, if she can laugh it out, she can laugh COVID out. If she
Yeah,
can
that's
laugh
interesting.
it out,
That's interesting, and that's interesting because he mentions that she's probably, even now with her condition, she's much more stronger than any one of them health wise. I mean, she's has even at the age of 84, she doesn't have any health conditions to be worried of, and she's taking it positively. And I mean, in the sense that the only trouble is, how do they deal with it? I mean, they know that she's fighting well at her end, and
yeah,
the only contact is through a phone.
yeah,
So, this long distance thing works well with the COVID thing as to how to deal with the situation. And
right.
since you have an expertise in helping people over the
Happened. And he should not, he should talk about the things that she has got to do, because his grandmother can do.
yeah, and the same question is for his parents as well, who are in Bangalore but still are
Yeah,
helpless.
yeah.
The
And
only inputs they have is the morning and the evening updates. So
yeah,
the morning phone call is that, yeah, she's feeling better. Evening, she's worse. Again,
yeah,
morning, it's feeling better. She's feeling better. Evening, she's worse. So it's like a yo-yo.
yeah.
It's here. It's
See,
not neither here nor there.
so what happens in such a case is that when she says she is feeling better, let them be happy. When she says she's feeling worse, let them make her happy. It's very important to make someone else happy, isn't it? How often do we feel that why isn't someone appreciating us? Why isn't anyone laughing with us? Why isn't
As long
anyone making us happy?
Yeah,
So
as long as he knows that her family is behind and the support is there, that would
yes,
actually give
yes,
her the strength to come out of it much better. You're right.
great. Thank you, thank you, thank you, doctor. Any next question? Josh,
Um,
how is it? Huh?
Ishaq, do we have any questions on the chat box here?
Uh, on the chat box, nothing as of yet. But when we talk about emotional turmoil, especially during COVID, I am seeing a lot of, I would say, stress. Within the business community. I'm myself an entrepreneur and a business owner, and ever since COVID hit us in Bahrain, especially, and I'm sure it's the same in India, businesses have been affected, and that in turn affects cash flow. It in turn affects the staff who are working for these companies. And how like Dr. Azeem, if you could put tell something to, what would you suggest a business owner, or how would you advise him to manage his calm in such a condition? Because again, he's the leader of the organization. If he himself is emotionally disturbed, that transfers out to the employees. So how would you uh, advise someone in
Ah,
such a situation?
good, interesting. Yeah, good question. Remember, Shrak, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And stress is something that's part and parcel of our lives. And believe me, if stress is taken positively, it can bring out better results. We need not we need not yield to stress. We need not crumble down. On the contrary, stress can make us stronger. That's negative stress is distress, and positive stress is eustress. So make it positive. Don't crumble down. Believe me, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And if you share your feelings with others, and begin to feel better, that helps your stress calm down. That are stress busters. You can always take a lot of stress busters. Taking walks is a stress buster. Taking swim is a stress buster. Um, Cycling, indoor games. But try to choose something that is more physical. That way, you also get exercise. And apart from that, what I do often, I am hypnotherapist, or rather an NLP, which is an offshoot of hypnosis. Hypnosis does help indeed in relieving stress. In fact, hypnosis helps in a lot of things, and in such situations, hypnosis a big help to a lot of people with different dilemmas regarding emotions. Does that answer? Does it help you?
Yeah, that's a good thing which you mentioned, and I want you to just highlight more on positive stress and negative stress. What do you
Okay.
mean by that, and how does it translate into, your actions?
See, what happens is, when stress begins to show negative effects and we start to take wrong actions and feel defeated, it's negative. But when talk about positive stress, stress is useful in achieving things. It makes you work harder. It makes you achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
True.
have personally accomplished so much with positive stress because I've taken stress and used it to my advantage to enhance my knowledge, or to crack the exams, to do wonders in life. And I've never succumbed to situations. On the contrary, I've taken the bull by its horns. And I think everyone should be able to take the bull by its horns and make the best of it. Because it is not every day that we come across such situations. And when we go through it and we come out as a winner, we feel so good. We feel like, hey, yeah, I've done it. That's very important to feel you've done it. And stress is very necessary. If there was no stress, there would be no achievers, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
There
that's
was
true.
no stress, there would be no achievers. If there was no stress, the outcomes would be different. People would not think. Because of stressful situations, they have to look for alternatives. So I say stress is good. Why not? Make the best of it. Take it as a challenge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best. I mean,
So
if you look at majority of the top leaders, especially in the tech industry, business owners, I mean, all of their ideas came in stressful times,
yeah.
it was a startup. They went down, they had financial issues. They could not manage their staff, but then they came up with ideas which really transformed the way the world works. And, there are many examples on that.
See, Shrak, if you do not have stress, it doesn't bring out the person within you who can handle better. The warrior, the fighter within you has to come out, right? He
Hmm.
has to come out. And stress makes him come out. Stress makes you react differently. Stress makes you achieve. So yes, why not? Let's take it. Let's have fun, right?
But
And
always use
when you
stress
look at
in a
it in a
positive way.
positive way, yeah, you look at it in a positive way, it makes you achieve things,
True.
right? Whereas negative is distress. It's a distressful situation. You're not in control, and that's bad, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's true.
thank you. Next,
Great. We
is
have
there
a
anyone else?
question. We have a question from Mr. Pramod Mishra. He says he's an electrical engineer and has to work outside. But due to this COVID situation, he's not able to work
Yes,
due to due, because he's afraid of getting infected.
right,
And this is causing a lot of stress, not being able to work,
right,
which probably, translates into not bringing in money for the house expenses and all
right,
that. So what do you do?
right.
So his
No,
question is, how does he reduce the stress on that?
Yeah, to
no,
add on to that question, in addition to that, I have a few residents of mine who are online, and
yeah.
we are actually some of them are actually posted in the COVID wards as well. I mean, we have a few participants who are actually probably logged in from the COVID ward for this session.
Okay,
So maybe they do not openly speak out their fears, but
Mm.
on their behalf, I'd like to ask a few questions, which probably I
Okay.
can sense from what they're going through, because
Yes.
I'm a healthcare professional myself.
Yes.
So the thing is, we also have a lot of senior doctors on online today,
Yeah.
and if you remember Anand, the question whom I just put up, even Anand has joined us from the Netherlands himself, so he's able to join us. So that's a good thing. So the thing is that uh, the question is that you as a healthcare professional are a human being as well, and when you go into that ward, knowing that you're surrounded with COVID patients, and as Mr. Mishra very rightly has said, that he's going into a situation in which you know that you might contract the virus. Uh,
Yes.
you're scared of coming back home and giving it to your family.
Right.
You're scared of your elderly parents. Uh, you're trying your best to do what you have to do. You do whatever you have to do for the patient, or for your work, or for your profession. But then at the end of the day, that feeling or that thought does come at the back of your mind, that you have to
Right.
keep everything. So that is the question, which is a burning question for most of us on this session today. So if you can
Yes.
guide us as to how to deal with that problem.
Okay. Good. Mm. uh, Mr. Dr. Mishra and everyone else, uh, it's very important to affirm positively to yourself, because when you affirm negatively, you contact the infection even faster. Whereas when you say, no, it's nowhere near because I've taken all precautions, I am fine with it. And one is the mental side, because you all know the other side, the medical side is use sanitizers. I don't need to tell you everything about masks and everything. But from the psychological point of view, from the mental point of view, this fellow.
So thanks, Joshua. Joshua is here he's helping out Azeem Bhai with the audiovisual logistics. Thanks, Josh.
Oh, yeah. You got it?
Yeah, my earphones close.
Huh?
The earphones, 1 second.
Okay.
Now it's the.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you be a bit more
Ashwin?
louder, Azeem Bhai, please?
Can you hear me now?
A bit more louder.
Can you hear? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
we can hear you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah. So sorry, the phone fell down. I had placed it and my hand just moved it. Okay. So we know the precautionary measures. Here, I would like to share the affirmations with you, saying that we have to affirm to ourselves that we are not going to get it. We have to affirm to ourselves that when we walk into the war, we are not anywhere close to the infection. We are fine. Take all precautions, but be mentally strong. It's very important here to be mentally strong, and to affirm continuously whenever you have such situations, and take all precautions. I don't say don't take precautions. When you're going home, make sure that your clothes are separate, make sure that you clean yourself separately, but mentally be careful. Don't touch people until you're cleaned up. And it's important to take precautions, but the mental framework here is that I'm not going to get it. Believe me, it helps us. It helps us a lot. I've worked in cancer wards. I've worked with AIDS patients, and I know how it feels. As a volunteer, I've gone to AIDS patients. I've gone to Kidwai. We had cancer patients, and affirmations make a lot of difference, right? So I would say affirmations would help you. And also, what's important is at the end of the day, it is good to vent out. It is good to vent out. It's good to cry it out. It's good to talk it out. Because the more you keep it to yourself, the worse it's going to get for you. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to take anymore. So please talk it out. Have listeners around you. Be good. Be happy. Happiness again is a big role player in these times. If we are happy, nothing is going to hurt us. Is that yeah, doctor?
Yeah, that would help. But the thing is that do you think that it's always a good idea to be realistic and say that yes, probably in spite of taking all the precautions, you might just catch the virus? Do
It
you think
is
it's better to be positive, or and you have a plan B ready for that in case that scenario happens, or would you think it's
see
because being overly optimistic at times also doesn't help, because then if you do get the
true,
virus in spite of taking all precautions, you
true,
get
true,
even more depressed at the end.
true. You're right, but then when you start becoming, I don't mean being obsessed with positivity, saying that, hey, I'm Superman and someone will touch me. No, right? I don't say that. Make sure that you do not overestimate things. At the same time, you shouldn't feel so low that you catch it. So you should be able to strike a balance, say yes, it's not going to harm me, but I'll take my precautions. It's not going to harm me, but I'll be careful. It's not going to harm me, but I'll maintain social distance, right? Yeah, doctor.
Yeah, that's fine. Would you Ishaq, would you like to do unmute Mr. Pramod Mishra if he would have any more questions?
Okay.
Would I like to have a one-on-one with?
Dr. Mishra,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning,
No,
sir.
when I want to, I'm actually working in a medical institute itself, but
Huh.
after the engineering cell only. Uh, while going there, I'm afraid to get infected, and not
Huh.
only that, my
Huh.
wife also stops me to go there and work in along the all the patients, etc. What to do in the
Huh.
such a situation? I'm not going to my work nowadays.
Huh.
So
See,
it makes me stressful.
I see. Uh, do you have financial issues?
Yeah, certainly. Uh,
Okay. So what
since
happens
I
is
have
if you
financial
tell me, sir,
financial
hello,
issues are there. It
huh?
affects on financially as well.
No,
Yes,
I didn't quite get that. I didn't quite get you, but from what I gather, if you cannot go to work, if you cannot go to work, then please find out alternatives for the financial issues. There's no use to getting stressed. It's time now that you picked up something that would give you sustain your family until matters become better. Because I don't see this becoming better very fast. So it's good to think of something very lucrative within your capabilities. If you could use your skills and do something from home, that would solve a lot of your problems. One is going out and is the fear of getting infected, the fear of your wife not allowing you in, the fear of depression. No, do something from the house. You can, I'm sure there are things you can do, and you can use your creativity, sell and maintain your finances until matters get better. You could try different things that would yield money, income.
yes.
Don't make noise.
Right, we have a question from a healthcare worker. Uh,
Huh.
he works in a hospital and he doesn't want to be named. So he says that every day I come in hospital and I'm exposed to patients, and then I go back home. I'm scared that I might infect my family, my parents, and my children. How do
Yeah.
I cope with?
Well, one option here, it's a very tough situation for you, sir. It's a very tough situation. And I would say precautionary measures and affirmations are going to be helpful. Either you live separately for a while, which is very difficult, staying away from family, but then for the safety of the family, and you might get infected, for a while stay away. For a while stay away, because these are times when anything happens. So we should not underestimate the infection, the disease, the COVID. So I would say that if you are going, it's a daily routine, daily coming in contact with patients. If there is a single accommodation elsewhere, then take it. It should be nice. It will be safer for the family. Because if it's a family of small kids, the immunity is very low, they might get it. And then you'll be guilty for a very long time. That is one option. The other option is to take precautionary measures. Try to see if there is a bathroom outside where you can wash yourself before going in, so that you're clean before going in. Change clothes before you go in. Wear a mask, use sanitizers all the time. That's all we can do. And immunobuilding is there are herbal immunobuilders like Tulsi is a good immunobuilder, Tulsi drinks and stuff. So they would help you. You maintain a high immunity level, nothing will go wrong, right? Sir?
Yeah. This is what we all. I mean, since he's a senior healthcare professional, he already knows most of this. Is there
Yeah.
anything which NLP, hypnosis, or psychotherapy, like you as an expert in your field?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you can do for such people who need help?
Yeah. See, what happens is if you go to an NLP practitioner or a
I mean,
hypnotherapist,
I'm not saying that. A very common perception is that if you go to a counselor for help, people label you as you've gone mad, or you're that's
yeah,
the common perception. I mean,
yes,
it's not that you're going mad or something. It's just that you're taking some counseling, you're taking some help. That does
yeah,
not mean that the difference between psychotherapy and psychology is different. Psychology is when you actually have a
correct.
psychological disease, and psychotherapy is where you come in, where you deal with the situation on a phone call, like 5-10 minutes. You have a chat with the person
Yeah.
and you solve his problem over the phone.
See,
So
yeah,
we haven't gone into those aspects yet. So if you can enumerate, since you deal with such conditions and you help out people
yeah,
on a one-to-one basis. So if
yeah,
you can
yeah.
shed some light on that.
See, what happens is psychologists, primarily the difference between a psychologist and a psychotherapist. Psychologist, one who studies the mind, and people like us are psychotherapists who heal the mind. Now, one of the main things is talking it out to others, and breaking the ice in different situations, because the more tense it gets, the worse it gets. Maintain your caution, at the same time vent out as often as possible. Have a clean mental hygiene. Now, in terms of hypnosis, if it can come down to hypnosis, there's something called baggage removal, where we can let go of the baggage on your shoulders. You have been carrying things for years, and when we let go of that, we feel so good, and feel so good that the immune system also gets revamped. We could do that also for you. The other thing we could do for you is to remove the stress levels by just talking. There are exercises that can help the stress levels go down. Also, this COVID situation might make you an introvert. Might just because you're so bogged up that you don't feel like talking. You have to let loose. We help you to become an extrovert. We help you to let go of baggage. Those are the things that can be done. So taking help is very important. Mental health taking is very important. We are not treating mad people. NIMHANS does, mental hospitals too. We are basically social workers, basically lay counselors, basically psychotherapists who deal with people. And there's nothing better than talking. There's nothing better than letting go of all your inhibitions and spending good time with your family and friends, and talking everything except COVID. Because the more you look at the media, the more you listen to news channels harping on COVID, a number of people dying, number of people affected, it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you badly. So stay away from the media, because you know it. You don't need to know anymore. You know everything, right? So right
Yeah,
now, just let loose, because media is going to kill you. Media is very difficult because it over glamorizes situations. The intention is to help, but the byproduct, what happens is that we get too much information inflow, too much, and then we go berserk. We start actually thinking. We become hypochondriac. Oh my God, overthinking. I have this. I have COVID. I have cancer. No, you don't have it. You don't have it. You don't want it. You will never get it. What is it? Is that
yeah,
okay, sir?
that's very true. I mean, there's a lot of information overload on this, and people who are glued onto the television sets, even if they're leading a normal lifestyle and they're okay with the situation, they might just end up panicking. So uh, a thing which I do, or which you had advised me to do long back, was probably just read the papers in the morning, and that's it. I mean, stay away from the electronic news media and everything. I mean, in this day and age, it's slightly difficult because you have constant bombarding of messages on WhatsApp and everything. But yeah, try and shield yourself from the unwanted information. Try and read the relevant information that could be useful, and stay away from rumors. That is probably a step in that regard. Also, not to read or not to uh, go see a news channel before you sleep, because then you will have a sleepless night as well, to lead to more anxiety. So a few small things, I think, leads up to everything. But coming more to how you can help a particular person, long distance, because as you said that talking to family, talking to friends would be a solution to this problem, but all of us are like, because of
Talking
the
to,
situation, are locked out of our
yeah,
homes, or we're somewhere else, and our parents are somewhere else, our friends are somewhere else, so we're not
talk to
meeting.
some, hmm, talk to people like us, like counsel, talk to a counselor, because we are nothing but good friends. And I myself have many people talking to me. Whenever they're stressed, they spend some time talking and then they forget us and we forget them. And
Yeah,
it's
actually,
for, huh?
we have a few participants who've actually been through your counseling sessions, so I'm sure they will relate to what you're saying, because it sounds a little impossible, but yeah, a 10-minute chat or a 10-minute exercise with you might just make them feel lighter, or might just you know make things a little easier for them to handle.
Right, thank you. Any other questions?
You mentioned about hypnosis, and you know, uh, could you just elaborate more on that and probably guide us, take us through a small 5-minute relaxation exercise?
Ah, yeah, that would be nice if everyone would like it, because I don't want to do something without others' permission. But yeah, that's a nice, a 5-minute exercise, something with, no, hypnosis, there's a big misconception that hypnosis is done with the pendulum and you say, oh, now you're falling asleep. Now you're relaxing. No, that's not true. That's pendulum hypnosis. It's there. But what the movie says, that's not true. It's not so frightening. It's not so spooky. And with Shrak's consent, yeah, I would like to do a few minutes, maybe a 5-minute exercise that would burden you of all your emotional collections. Would you like that? If there's a yes, then we would go through that. A 5-minute.
Everyone can just put some, put a yes in the chat box if you would like
Yeah.
to.
Yes and no is nice. Yeah, yes and no is nice. How many people are already there in the chat box in the webinar?
We have
We have
about 20 people.
20.
20 people.
It fluctuates between 20 to 25 based on the internet speeds, but yeah,
Okay.
20 is the average. Yes.
So the
Yeah,
answers are
the
coming
a lot of
in. People are saying yes.
Please go
Good.
ahead.
So then I'll go ahead. So if you kindly, if everyone has headphones, unplug the left ear, leave the right ear on. If you don't have headphones, then place the mobile or the cell on your right, or rather have the voice coming from the right side. Now, next point, keep your hands uncrossed, hands on your laps, and your feet uncrossed, and both feet touching the ground. Okay. Now, close your eyes, lean backwards, relax. There are some people very stiff, very stiff, and it's not necessary to be so stiff on the shoulders. Relax, yes, very good. Close your eyes, keep eyes closed. I will count gently from 10 to 1. As I count from 10 to 1, you will relax and unwind, letting go of all thoughts. I start with 10. 9, leave your arms loose, your legs loose. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. Now you find yourself seated on a white satin armchair in a log cabin far away. In front of you, towards your eyes are closed, in front of you, towards your right, is a fireplace that will light the logs for the winter days. At a slightly higher level, it's a 40-seater wooden dining table, very simple carved, and then an open kitchen, very tidy. So you seem to be seated. On your left side, there is a child's school bag, closed. As your hand comes down and picks it up, you pick it up. You stand up and you find the bag a little heavy. Swing it over your left shoulder. Turn to the left. And this is all in the mind, and you walk towards the main door. It's a nice wooden door, well carved, beautifully carved. You open the door, it swings freely. You step out into the sunlight. You shut the door behind you, no need to lock it. It's beautiful sunlight. In front of you is a cobblestone path dividing well-manicured lawns. You follow the cobblestone path to the main gate. There's a 3-foot high main gate, wrought iron gate, more for beauty than for safety. It's well carved, well designed. You open the gate, it swings nicely, well greased, and you step out, shutting the door, the gate behind you. You look left, you look right, no cars in sight. That is the main road. You cross the road with the bag on your left shoulder. You cross the road. Okay. Yeah. 1 second.
One call was coming.
Don't do that. As you cross the road into there's a forest in front of you. As you cross the road, you step into the forest. There's a narrow winding path that winds its way through the forest. You enter the forest and follow the winding path. As you walk further, you find the sunlight streaking through in areas, forming a multitude of colors. You walk a little further, noticing the bag getting heavier on your shoulders. A little further, you find deers nibbling at ferns. Find the squirrels gathering nuts for the winter days. A little further, you hear the birds chirping. When you look up, on top of the tall pine trees, and eucalyptus trees, you have lovebirds and birds busy humming a tune of their own. As you go further with the bag feeling heavier and heavier on your left shoulder, you come to the end of the forest, the edge bordering the sea. There's a strip of sand. You walk on the sand. There's a rock You kick your sandals off in the near the rock. You go further, stopping by the waters. The bag is so heavy that it's cutting into your shoulders. So you remove the bag, you let it slip down. And you look at the waters. It's beautiful, lovely dark blue waters. And then you gaze at the bag, the child's school bag, and you wonder why it was so heavy. Curiosity gets the better of you. You open the straps and you find, to your amazement, incidences right from the childhood till now. There are incidences where people have hurt you. You have never forgotten it. There are people that said things to you, now you have never forgiven them. There are incidences when you have hurt others and you have hurt yourself in return. All those incidences have turned into colors and you are carrying them on your shoulders. And no wonder you feel so heavy. No wonder your speed is slow, your gait is lethargic. There's so much of mental baggage that with so much mental baggage, how can we live normally? So you close the straps of the bag, and for a while, a brief moment, the colors are not there. And you feel good just by closing the bag. And then you realize that carrying this emotional pain with you is not going to help you. So you decide to take the straps of the bag and swing it far into the lake, into the sea. It flings high, and then it falls with a splash. You can't hear the splash. You can only see it. And then you see the bag bobbing up and down and gradually sinking. You stretch out your hand, it's your pain. You stretch it out to get the bag, but it's too far away, it's gone, taking all the pain from childhood into the bottom of the sea. Somewhere you feel much, much better. You feel relieved. So nice. You turn around and walk, that's without your bag, to where you kicked off your sandals near the rock. You put your sandals on, feeling lively. The pain is gone, the shoulders are free. The bag is gone to the bottom of the sea. You enter the forest, you cross the sand and strip of sand and enter the forest. As you enter the forest, there are tall eucalyptus and pine trees, and the nests of lovebirds birds placed on top high. They're singing a different tune now, more melodious to the ear. Very nice. As you go a little further, following the narrow winding path without your bag of sorrows, you find deers live nibbling at ferns, unperturbed by mankind. Squirrels stowing away their nuts for the winter days, and rabbits hopping along, looking for carrots. Lovely sight, very nice, very soothing. A little further, you find the colors have changed, very bright now. The sun position has changed, bringing different colors like a rainbow. Oh, wow. Feels good. It's really good. As you come out of the forest without your bag, feeling lighter and lighter, feel like you're hopping along. You come to the road. You look left, you look right, no cars in sight. Cross the road and come to your farmhouse, to the wrought iron 3 5 feet high wooden iron gate, more for beauty than for safety. You to the gate, it is unlatched. You enter the gate, you enter your compound. The gate shuts behind you. And you have this beautiful cobblestone path dividing well-manicured lawns. As you follow the path, on your left, a bed of roses, red roses, pink roses, yellow roses, some chrysanthemums, with a bush around, and it's a lovely sight. There's some tuberoses too. In the evenings, they bring out some beautiful fragrance. You feel relaxed, you feel yourself once again. The door is unlocked, you open it, and you sit down, latching, closing the door behind you. As you sit in your favorite white satin armchair, sinking into the sofa there. In your front, opposite, on the right, is a fireplace to, for the logs during the winter days. As you work further on your right hand side, you go further, you have at a higher level, I have a four-seater dining table. And then an open kitchen. It's very tidy. You are seated, your eyes are closed. There is no child's school bag in front of you. You have thrown away the pain from childhood. You have thrown away the hurt you have got from people. You have thrown away the feelings of resentment. You are now to yourself. You feel happy. You feel invigorated. You feel good. Very good. Feel relaxed. Follow the breathing. You feel good. There's no sound except maybe some birds singing some beautiful songs, chirping nicely. But you feel relaxed. Your hand swings to your left. There is no bag. The bag is gone. You're slowly coming to yourself. You're slowly waking up from a deep sleep. It just feels like you went somewhere and you returned. Gradually waking up. The feeling is good. Very powerful. You feel nice. I'll count up to 10. You can gently open your eyes after the count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now you can gently open your eyes when you're ready. Take your time. There is no hurry. And whenever you open your eyes and you're ready, you will kindly send a message in the chat box saying, I'm awake.